music. Yeah.
Milsurp Garage. What have we here? This is a Marlin Model 922M. And the M stands for Magnum, the infamous WMRF round. Winchester Magnum rimfire. I do not have that caliber on hand because I don't own anything in that caliber. This was given to me by a friend to find out what's wrong with it. And the information that I got from him was it made some kind of sound when he was firing, then didn't work right. Everything was all jammed and gummed up. He gave it to a buddy of his who is a gunsmith and this guy, I have no idea what he did, but apparently he took it apart and gave it back to him. I don't know if he said here it's fixed and gave it back to him. I just know that he gave it back, and it was I guess different. My friend said he had heard something rattling around inside when he heard something that sounded like it shattered. Right away, I'm thinking, this is blowback. It's got to be some type of buffer. That's what I was thinking immediately, and I don't know anything about these things, about these rifles. And then, sure enough, I took a look. All right, so I started doing a little research for him, and just turned me on to some research on this gun, an interesting series of rifles here. There's got a little bit of history for it. I thought I'd throw it up and do a video while I'm inspecting to see what's going on with it. Well, here's a little bit of the story here. There was this 1985. There was this rifle released called a Camp 9 by Marlin, and this was to compete with. There were some of those rifles out there. Ruger had the Ruger 44. We did a video on that. Gas operated. And there were others. There's other rifles that had pistol caliber. Seemed to be like a little bit of a craze popping up that every manufacturer seemed to jump on. These Camp 9s were interesting. It was the same basic design. These came later on. These came in 93, and they were discontinued in 2001. But this Camp 9 used Smith & Wesson 59 series pistol magazines, 12 round capacity those had. Here, let's see. I got here's my Marlin book, which mostly has just old stuff. This is the Brophy Marlin book, but those were old enough to be included in this book. So here's the Camp 9. It had this interesting magazine housing here that the magazine would go in. And then they came out with, the next year, they came out with a Model 45, which is 45 caliber that used 1911 magazines. It says it used most 1911 magazines. I don't know what most means, but maybe it had issues, so that's why they said most. So if yours didn't work, they could go, well, we did say most. Yours, unfortunately, doesn't work. But then they dropped this Camp moniker the very next year in 86. And but this Camp side, this was called the Model 9, this was called the Model 45. And they dropped that Camp thing, but it like stuck forever. Apparently people just called these the Camp 9, the Camp 45, even though Camp 45 I don't think ever existed as an official name for it. But I'm just reading about these. These were popular. I mean, come on, if you had a pistol and a rifle, you're out in the field and both take the same ammo. I mean, that's very convenient. You know what I mean? And the fact that they're blowback, very simple. Sounds like they could be sounds like they could be pretty popular, right? Well, they were. Problem was with the blowback operation. Unlike gas operation, you could tune the gas to how much. You could even set like a limit, kind of like when the gas reaches a certain psi, it gets exhausted out a different way. So there's just only so much pressure could ever push the bolt. Whether you have hot ammo or whatever's going on, it only uses as much pressure as it needs, as much as much gas as it needs to operate the bolt. But with blowback, you kind of like have to just set it one way and then that's it. So if you're using, let's say with the Camp 9, there's all different kinds of 9mm ammo. There's even like plus P stuff that's like way hotter. And if you would be using that hotter ammo, and of course this was released in 85, 86, 87, so like by the 90s and the 2000s, even ammo had even increased in its, power. So they were having problems where this buffer that was inside. Now, let's see what we could use to show this. I got my Numrich parts book. It's a reference guide for parts for like buying from them. So, it's like a telephone book. But man, I love this book. Let's just want to get both so I can flop back and forth. Where's the Model 9? All right, here we go. So here's the Model 45 and the Model 9, okay? So you see here's that magazine, that interesting looking magazine extension thing on the trigger group here. But let's just take a look right up over here. Zoom in a little bit over here. There's the buffer that sits at the back of the receiver. That's what it looks like. Enhance. Right there. And you can see the shape of the receiver here, right? Now let's move over to the 922M here, right? And look at that. What do you know? Same shape to the receiver, same everything. Here's the buffer right there. Now, of course, it's a different, you notice there's that pistol grippy looking there, that magazine extension isn't there. The trigger group doesn't have it. It's not in the receiver. And it's a detachable magazine down here, just totally separate without that housing. But this buffer piece is the same. So, which by the way, here's some specs on just this particular rifle here. Here we got it down here. It's the Marlin 922 Magnum self-loading rifle. Caliber 22 WMR, 7-shot magazine, 20.5-inch barrel, 6.5 pounds, 39.75 inches overall. Checkered American black walnut stock with Monte Carlo comb. Swivel studs, rubber butt pad. Sights, ramp front sight with bead and removable wide scan hood. That's trademarked. Adjustable folding semi-buckhorn rear. Action based on the Centerfire Model 9 carbine. Receiver drilled and tapped for scope mounting. Automatic last shot bolt hold open. Magazine safety. Introduced 1993. Price was $423 in 1999. All right, so now that we got that covered, so so this was my buddy's. It's scoped, so that front sight that they're talking about is gone off of here. I don't know if that's the original rear sight. Looks like something's gone off of there too, to allow for scoping it. I'd like to take a look inside here, see what's going on with that buffer, but I have a suspicion that that buffer was that all the pieces, that the buffer itself is just going to be gone, because it was probably hardened. I think it was originally like a soft piece. It probably hardened, shattered, and that's what was gumming it all up. He said it wasn't working. The bolt hold open wasn't working. It was all screwy. When he got it back from this guy, it seemed to function okay, but not quite. Some things were still a little wacky, and I'm thinking there were just still some pieces of that stuff around. Even me, the bolt hold open was not working. It's working now, but it wasn't working when he first gave it to me. But just knocking it around and messing with it, and look, see how typical with these types of guns, this price range, let's say, is that the magazines don't really, you gotta like kind of see how you gotta kind of jiggle it. It doesn't just go right in and click right in. You gotta kind of, and he said that he bought this mag, so I don't think this is aftermarket. It says to use for this gun only, but I'm not. I guess this is a Marlin product. I'm not sure. He may have bought an aftermarket, and that's why it might be acting like this. Don't know the gun well enough to know if this is an original mag. Anybody out there that's looking up this on YouTube because this is his rifle that he loves and everything, and you're watching my video and you're just disgusted at my lack of knowledge, please help us out. Let me know if this is an original. So maybe he would do better with an original mag. It doesn't seem to. It's got to kind of jiggle it to get it to seat. But since it has a magazine safety, so with the magazine out, it won't fire. I was thinking that's why he was having issues, is because one of those chunks was gummed up in here where it was blocking it wasn't registering as the magazine was in. That's why the bolt hold open wasn't working as well, because he said that he couldn't pull the trigger with the mag in, it wouldn't pull the trigger, and the bolt hold open wouldn't work. So I'm thinking even it wasn't fully seating where it was the gun, whatever mechanism in there tells the gun that the magazine was in. There was like a chunk of this buffer material blocking it. I'm expecting, let me take a look in here, but I'm expecting to find absolutely no buffer because, and my friend, I just told my friend to order one as I knew what it was. Remember, these are sometimes the most chewed up screws on any gun. And you got to make sure you get a bit that just stands up right in that groove. Those are usually fat, that's why. And everyone grabs that regular screwdriver. They're thin. These can be tight. And when you turn it, you're going to put two little raised lumps in that screw slot. Unless you find a bit that just so perfectly fits in there that it'll just stand up straight like that. It won't even fall out if you tilt the gun sideways. That's what you're looking for. Let's get in here. Is just 2 screws here to get the stock off. So yeah, these Camp 9s and Camp 45s, they look pretty cool. They do look pretty cool. This Winchester Magnum 22 round, it never really get that much traction. I don't know, nobody really seemed to like it. And but it's powerful. I mean, look, it's powerful enough to what I'm assuming bust out this this buffer here. So no obvious piece. Yeah, there's some pieces here. See, I'm scooping up just a couple of bangs, and I'm scooping up it's gritty kind of stuff here. But I'm pretty sure when this guy's when the original fixer took this apart, I'm thinking that that one pushed right out. That one, not so much. I'm thinking that there was a lot of material in here. Let's where's my, okay, this will do. Just want to elevate. I was tapping that out like Yan can cook. Is this long enough? Yes, it is long enough to go completely across, pin out That should pull this trigger group out from what I'm looking at. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we've lost the part. We've lost the part. Let's not... Okay. Let's not forget where that goes. Oh, there's a spring in there too. Hold the phone. I did not know that. Let me grab a... let me just see. I just want to make sure. This might be captive. I'm just not sure. Look at that. It looks like this spring has been damaged too. Yeah, look at that. Spring is a couple of windings bent back like that. Look at that. I think we could just straighten that and get it back in there, but that's interesting. Looks like maybe on reassembly that may have gotten pinched. But I think as long as this has some spring tension, we should be fine. If we bend that straight back and use that as the bottom and put it in like this, I would think would be better. Interesting. I don't think that had anything to do with our issues. Let's set that to the side. Yeah, just like I suspected, I don't really see any parts in here. Not really sure what this is for. Leave that in the comments too, if you guys could tell me what this particular switch is for on the side. I have no idea what this does. Interesting. But yeah, the buffer would sit back here, and it's completely gone. There's nothing there. This is where it goes. I think it's, let's see what happens when the bolt comes back. Yeah. So the bolt right now is just bottoming this spring and just slamming back. Let's see, I think if you lift, yeah, there we go. You can get the bolt out. Yeah, it looks like it's been cleaned up in here a decent amount. But there's still some residue of these feel gritty pieces. But that buffer would have been back here, and it appears to be just completely gone. So again, this sits in here. It's the bolt. It's right here. And this gap that you see right there would be where the buffer sits in. It's probably about that wide, you know what I mean? So it's, the bolt should hit that instead of bottoming out like that. I don't see any of these damage that it's hitting anything, which is good. But I guess to be continued. I told my buddy just to order one of these just from what I was looking at online. I was like, that's going to be what your problem is right there. So I told him to just order it. I said, even if it's not busted, you're going to need one of those eventually. Maybe it's better to just change it out anyway. If I'm going to take it apart, might as well just change it out, because it is a known problem. But it looks like it was shattered, removed by the other fixer. And some of the other pieces might have still been in there gumming it up, but it seems like by now everything's all good. So this is plastic here. I'm not sure if I'm going to blast this out with gun scrubber and compressed air. Possibly. I just want to really, I'm just going to test a little bit of gun scrubber in an inconspicuous area here and make sure it's not going to just start compromising this plastic. Maybe like right up here a little bit, just put a little dab and just make sure that the plastic doesn't start getting soft or getting weird. And then blast this out compressed air it out. And then same here. I guess I hate to take the scope off and ruin the sighting for them, but I don't want to get any solvents or anything inside the optics, so I think I'll do that. But there's not really much to this. Maybe I'll just wipe it out. I don't really think any of this plastic stuff can hide in just an open receiver design like this. Run a couple of patches through the barrel. Yeah, see, here's a nice chunk of it right there. Yeah. So this buffer did just shatter. Maybe not all at once, maybe a few shots after it was even broken, and started mashing it and crunching it up into pieces even more. But to be continued. So we'll be back where this buffer comes in the mail, and we'll put it in here, and we'll see if that was the fix. But yeah, I just wanted to throw out a little bit of the history on this guy. It's a pretty interesting gun, and I'm going to put it off on the side. And I don't know if I'll just release this video as it is, and then when the fix comes, we'll do another video with the repair, or if I'll just hold on to it and do the whole thing all at once. Oh, look at what I found right here. Look. This just came out of the trigger group when I put it down. There's this nice piece right here. Let's zoom in on that. Let's zoom in on that nice piece of buffer right there. That's the kind of stuff that gets jammed up in the mechanism and won't let the trigger get pulled, or won't let the bolt hold open work, or like actuates the magazine safety even though the magazine's in. You know, nothing here is electronic. It's all just mechanical devices, and mechanical devices rely on movement and stopping of movement and allowing of movement. And when you have, you know, grit like this all inside the mechanism, that's it's going to be like short-circuiting a bunch of stuff inside of a computer. Same thing. So yeah, I definitely got to blow this out with something for sure. There's got to be like more chunks just stuck down inside the recesses here. And I'd like to be able to operate it, figure out how to do something with my finger to release this magazine safety so the hammer can drop. Let's see where that would be. Maybe here? Somewhere here. One of these pieces I'd be able to hold. Oh, there it goes. I could hold that with my finger. Yeah, and get the hammer to drop. I'm sure. Anyway. Yep. We'll be back with the fix. And we'll get this thing rolling again. And then I got to get him to get a couple of boxes of ammo, because I don't think he has any either. And then we'll go to the range and send some rounds through it and show it working properly. That would be fun. So the Marlin Model 922M. Interesting. Very interesting in that it's not the Model 9 or the Model 45. These seem to be a little bit harder to find, believe it or not. I don't think that 22 Winchester Magnum rimfire was very popular. I think Ruger had a 1022 chambered in that. That was a failure also. The problem was that their blowback and the bolt that you had to put a buffer in. I think they sold aftermarket buffers because that one didn't have a buffer, something like that. And supposedly those things are they sit on shelves to this day and nobody buys them. That's what I hear. But I don't know. Ruger's got a pretty core group of fans. I think that a lot of people would scoop those up. I would think. But yeah, it seems to be a common problem with these blowback guns. But with an aftermarket, nice soft buffer, you know, I could probably fix that problem for many, many years for my buddy. So we'll see what we'll do. Be back soon with the fix on this gun, one way or another. So just a little quick follow-up here. So I fixed this spring as best as I could. I straightened out this bent part and got it at least to be kind of straight, because I think that all I really need is to just get that part in there. I believe it will sit and function properly as long as the top part of it. I don't think the bottom part of that spring really does much. There we go. So if this part sits right here, see if it does what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be just fine. You can see the part of the spring that's exposed is still okay. So I think we'll be good. So reassembly of this part, I can see now that's why I had to punch that pin out. The other one came right out, and this one I had to punch out. It's because this was not together properly here. So assembly here is very important to pay attention to what's going on. See the problem, I could see why the guy had a problem putting this together right away. See how it's not lined up. You have to push it to line it up. You have to just come down. You can't go side to side with it. I see already how to do this. What I would do with this is I would get this pin. I would just put this pin right here to hold this part. Hold this part right there. Let's see. Let's say I put the rear in first. See, now you don't have to worry about that spring coming loose. And you could just get this. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. That's how to put that together. That's how to put that together where you don't have issues with the spring there. See? Yep. All right, well, at least I got one thing fixed. And I got to remember on when I take it back apart and put it back together again to use that procedure. I see how that spring got damaged when it was put back together. I saw exactly how, because that part, you would, if you took these two halves and just tried to put them together with that part there, you'd have to push it forward now to line up with the pin. And by pushing that forward, it can squish the spring out sideways and pinch it wrong. I wonder if that had anything to do with his issues of how it was functioning. Let's see. Still have to jiggle the mag to get it in. This mag doesn't seem like it's fits right. I mean, it's like this is just gonna get it's obviously something wearing along here, that's where the resistance fit is. A little dab of grease on that couldn't hurt, but whatever. Typically, you have to jiggle the magazines on these types of guns. You know what I mean? That's why the Ruger 1022 is so popular, because those magazines, those rotaries, just slapped right in flush with the stock. I remember back then that was a big thing, because every other gun you kind of had to jiggle around the magazines to get them to seat right. All right, I just wanted to pop back in with that little that spring thing. I was really happy the way I kind of wound the spring around this thing with my fingers and squeezed it a little bit with the tools. Didn't want to mess with it much to bust the spring, but got it shaped up enough where I think it'll function just fine in here. All right, y'all. See you later.
Boring shit and not go away. So that's.
And by the way, shout out to my 2,800 subscribers. Thank you.
Yeah, you make a video like forever though.
This is the first time I'm ever doing this. Do your subscribers get notified that you're doing a live chat?
Yeah, it should show up as like a.
It showed up on my feed.
Video or whatever. It's gonna happen.
Oh, like on your channel and they get notified?
It's a Canadian chat.
Well, that's the case. Peace, both of you.
Yes.